Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video we are looking at the baseball slate for Wednesday. Have an 8-gamer tonight. Also be touching on the NBA slate. Game 1 of the finals is tomorrow. I'll have a video out later today. But let's go ahead and get started with the baseball slate. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it if the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out the other links down below in the description. And let's go ahead and get started. So we got some rain concerns here in the Northeast. With the Yankees game has about a 50% chance of rain, and the Red Sox as well. So we'll see how that looks when we get some more news and we get closer to the start time. First game out, we have the Mariners against the Orioles. We have Mariners coming off of a 10-run outing last night where they absolutely just pounded the ball, and today they get an even better matchup against Kyle Bradish, who has a 7+ ERA. He gives up a lot of home runs. He's getting absolutely pounded by right-handed bats especially. So you can look to and the lefties look decent as well here from the Mariners, especially like Taylor Trammell at 2K flat. He might bat near the bottom of the order, but he's gotten off to a great start this year in his few at-bats. And looks like Kyle Lewis is day-to-day. He probably won't play today, so he should be in the lineup. You have a first baseman at $2,100, Mike Ford. Favorite play would be Ty France at $4,200, though. Second favorite play would probably be Julio Rodriguez, and then Trammell just worth the value. And then I'm looking at Robbie Ray as a pitching option. Baltimore has a lot of righties here, but I still like the upside that Robbie Ray gives you with the strikeout upside, and this lineup does have a lot of strikeouts in there as well. Next game up, if the Yankees game does happen to play today, it does clear up. Right now, it's tough to play Nestor Cortez with the rain. If there's a delay, he probably won't return if it's an in-game delay. So we'll see how it looks later in the day, but I would be looking at some of these righties, definitely from the Yankees. Aaron Judge, for sure. Andujar at 25 has been good for them. They're getting absolutely no production from Aaron Hicks at this point. They just gave him a 7-year contract, so probably stuck with him for a while unless they can look to trade him or at least maybe demote him. We have the Blue Jays against the White Sox. You got Michael Kopech with the strikeout upside. Blue Jays have a 4.6 total today. It's kind of a little bit surprising. I don't mind looking at a couple of these guys, but Kopech is still a guy that I respect. And a lot of these guys are righty here, so they're not one of my favorite stags. If you needed a cheap second baseman, you can consider Espinal. But Blue Jays have been one of the worst teams in MLB this year in terms of scoring runs with guys in scoring position. They just can't really hit the ball in those situations. They're kind of reliant on home runs. And then on the White Sox side against Ryu has not been good so far for the Blue Jays. You can look to some of these righties, but this lineup is very weak right now. They're dealing with injuries to a couple of their better hitters, like I mentioned yesterday. Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, Tim Anderson. That's three. That's like 2, 3, 4 in their lineup. That's not there at this point, or 1 with Tim Anderson batting leadoff. They got some good pitching options this one. You can look to Skubal at 10-2, going up against the Twins, but Bailey Ober is a lot cheaper, but the only problem with him is that he doesn't go very deep into games. I'm not looking at the bats here at all. You can maybe consider, Clemens, who just got called up from the Tigers, 2K flat, third base option if you needed it. That could be exciting. Red Sox, same boat as the Yankees with some rain concerns here. They're going up against Hunter Green, who's gives you a lot of strikeout upside from the Red side, but he gives up a ton of power. The Red Sox bats back-to-back games of being absolutely quiet. So they were hot and now they're cold. Hopefully this matchup is definitely one that could bring them right back up just with how many home runs Green can give. So the Red Sox are definitely a list on the list of teams I'm looking to stack if the weather does clear up there. Next game up, we got a couple of games before we had the wind blowing out. Now the wind is kind of neutral, blowing in maybe a little bit on this side. I still like Christopher Morel. He had another great game yesterday. He gets kind of like not really respected based on the salary. He's only $3,600. Batting leadoff, second baseman, and outfield, covers 2 spots. Second base typically can be a tough one to fill. So he looks like a great option. And then on the Brewer side, I just like some of these value picks. Like consider Taylor if you wanted to. Tellez, lefty-righty matchup against Hendricks. Got some more pitching options. This one, Jeffrey Springs against John Gray. The Rangers, a couple of their better hitters are lefties with Corey Seager. Calhoun does give you some pop. They will have a lot of righties here, but the bottom half, you don't have to worry about too much. Huff, Ibanez, Culberson, and Eli White in terms of power. So I do like Jeffrey Springs, and then John Gray. They might have a slightly tougher matchup just because he's getting hit pretty hard so far this year. He does give you some strikeout upside. Both similarly priced. I probably prefer Springs than John Gray, though. And the last game up, we have the Dodgers looking to avoid losing 3 straight to the Pirates. I think the Pirates are like 4-1 against them this year. Hopefully today they're able to win the game. I do like a lot of the righties from the Dodgers here. Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Justin Turner. Pillar's only 25, and Chris Taylor's expensive, but he's done great things against lefties this year. And then on the Pirates side, not really that interested. I mean, they have a lot of cheap guys if you wanted to consider them, but there you have the lowest total on the slate, and probably for good reason. So going back to DraftKings at pitcher, with the rain concerns in the Yankees game right now, I'm going to go ahead and put in Robbie Ray at 95. Still gives you elite strikeout stuff. He has 68 Ks in 60 innings this year. He has given up some home runs, and he does give up some walks at times, but he's been pretty steady the last handful of starts. He's gone at least like 6 in 3 straight starts. He's gotten at least 5, and he's gotten at least 5 for the entire year. So it's just been the problem with him at times has been giving up walks. But 10 strikeouts last game. He goes deep into games and he's topped 100 pitches a couple times. So against Baltimore, hopefully he's able to continue striking out, and he probably will. And the second pitcher I'm going with is going to be Springs here at $6,200. Just a guy that started off the year in the bullpen. So he was only pitching 1 inning. He sometimes was the opener for the Rays. They like to do that, Kevin Cash. But last few starts, this would be probably his 5th start. His first one, he threw 57 pitches. We're going deep into games. And then last one, he got up to 80 in back-to-back starts. He gives you some strikeout upside at a pretty reasonable clip. He's averaging right around 1 strikeout per inning, only 3 home runs given up, and doesn't give up that many walks either, only 7 walks as well. And it's not a terrible park to pitch in. So if a guy that's able to give me 80 pitches or so, potentially up to 25 or so fantasy points if we're lucky on a good day like he did against Baltimore. So at least probably high teens would be nice at $6,200. At first base, you got a good options here. You got some lefty-lefty situations with the Dodgers, Freeman, and Rios. So instead, I'm going to go with probably my favorite stack today, which is the Mariners. Got some nice price tags on them, and Ty France has been a great acquisition by them in the offseason. He's batting .447 in his last 10 games with a home run. He gives you power as well with 7 home runs on the season, and should get some RBI opportunities in this one. It's a very good ballpark to hit in, as we saw yesterday with them scoring 10 runs. Although they did move part of the fence back in the for them, so it's a little bit tougher to hit home runs for righties. But we'll see. Maybe you can go center field or maybe pull one. But France is gonna be the first guy I put in here. At second base, you got Story if that game plays solid. I don't know why Drury's still so expensive at 54. Second base, don't have too many options, so probably one of my favorites would be going right back to like Morel here. At 36, another double-digit fantasy point outing from him. He had a triple and a walk. He looks very solid if you needed to go with him. Over at third base, you have Devers. Depending on the rain, I'll definitely be looking at the weather later in the day, because if that game is cleared up, then I want to be looking at some of these Red Sox bats here. Other options would be looking at Justin Turner, considering Suarez here at $4,200. He should give you some opportunities to hit some home runs today, like any other day. I'll go ahead and put him in for right now. Looking at Bradish's numbers here, you can look at his stats on Fangraphs or whatever site you want to use, but against righties, he has a 5.24 xFIP, only a 18% K rate, and if you just look at the general stats here, he's given up a 361 average so far this year to righties with a 738 slugging. So go ahead, I'm putting in 2 of the most powerful righties on this team with Ty France and Suarez. Over at shortstop, looking at Trey Turner, just going up against a lefty looks solid for me. I do think the gives you a lot of upside, not only with getting on base, but he occasionally can steal bags as well. He gives you some pop, as we saw yesterday, hitting a home run. And shortstop's a position where I usually like to pay up. So today, pay up for Trey Turner. Other option would be looking to Xander Bogaerts if that game plays. And you got a lot of guys that are out here, which we typically would pay up for. So if we needed a value, it would probably be J.P. Crawford. And you can consider some of these guys, but they're not that exciting at all. And then last but not least, in the outfield, you got a bunch of options at the top end. Favorite would be definitely Mookie Betts against the lefty, but I'm putting in Taylor Trammell. Give you another Mariner right now, just because he's so cheap. He's 2K flat. He's been great so far in his 7 games that he has played. He's batting average of 353. He gives you some speed as well. Hasn't taken a stolen base yet this year, but he's a guy that definitely has some speed and can take advantage of that. And, gives you a little bit of power as well. Nothing crazy, but, back at a couple of doubles yesterday, 4 RBIs, 3 hits. Hopefully he can continue to carry that. And he does give you, just was one of their highly ranked prospects in the years. So he does give you some appeal there. And that's basically it for DraftKings. I like the Mariners a lot today, followed by the Dodgers. Those will be my 2 favorite stacks. And then if the weather holds up, I'll be mixing in the Red Sox bats and the Yankees bats to round out the day. Let's go ahead now and look at FanDuel. So on FanDuel at pitcher, I plugged in Robbie Ray just because the most expensive guy right now is Cortez, and we got some rain there, so I'd rather go Robbie Ray at 97. Other options would be maybe looking at Springs, but I'd rather probably take a shot on Robbie Ray for $1,700 more and hope that Ray probably will throw at least 20 or more, 20, 25 more pitches than Springs. We probably won't get more than 80, 85 pitches if we're lucky. First base, I stuck with Ty France. Loved the matchup for the Mariners today against a homer-prone, poor pitcher. Third base, you got to consider Justin Turner for sure. He's very inexpensive at $3K. He's cheaper than a lot of guys, and he's starting to hit the ball better. He already has 30 RBIs on the season when he only has a 222 average, so he does give you a lot of upside with the RBIs. And today, you should expect a good amount of them against Quintana, even though he's pitched well this year. But the Dodgers, against lefties, they always get me excited just with Trey Turner and Mookie Betts leading the way. And then the outfield, I went with Taylor Trammell once again. He's a lefty, but he's a minimum price, and I do like the upside that he gives you. You might maybe he gets a bump in the batting order. He started 4 games and has done well probably started 4 games, and has at least a hit in each of those games. Pitch hit before that, and he's trying to make the most of his playing time right now that he will get until Kyle Lewis is back, and maybe will still continue to get at times in like DH spots or what other spots they have for him. And the last guy I plugged in is Mookie Betts against the lefty here. You can consider getting to Trey Turner as well, but Betts having a great month of May. Now it's June, so we'll see if he's able to carry it over, which he probably will be. The end of the month on an 0 for 4, but not going to put any stock into it. These guys will always have that sort of risk anytime a star player goes 0 for 4. He shouldn't be shocked because it's baseball. But he also gives the upside to drop 50 fantasy points, as we saw, and he went on a crazy stretch where he was dropping to 20 plus in 4 straight games, getting in almost like 6, 7 of 8 games. He dropped at least 18.7. So he's absolutely on a ridiculous tear right now. Definitely look to play him if you can. And that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Best of luck tonight. Stay tuned for the NBA video later this afternoon, and I will see you all next time.